All right, good morning, everyone. Let's get going here. All right, S&P, nice little bounce yesterday after previous day's sell-off. Kind of pushing back up close to closing highs. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we closed about 3 or 4 points, 2 or 3 points off of closing highs on the S&P 500. Kind of in the same sort of pattern, and as you get these slight drifts down and then push to new highs quite quickly. Every sector was up on the day outside the telecom sector. We had a couple pieces of data out yesterday that were positive. Obviously, the biggest one being the jobless claims number. That was a little bit better than expected, and the continuing claims number was also revised down quite a bit. So I think we got a little bit of boost out of that. We also had the Janet Yellen nomination yesterday, which was voted in favor of by the Senate Banking Committee, and so that things look all good for her to come in and replace Ben Bernanke next year. So, but no surprises there, obviously. All right, Asian markets, we see a little bit, up across the board with Shanghai down a little bit. Shanghai just continues to lag. It's definitely something that doesn't quite smell right with the Chinese market at the moment. I mean, data points, yesterday were a touch soft, but data points would continue to be really good. We've got an economy that's growing at close to 8%. And then the stock market can't bounce for 2 years. It's something just doesn't seem quite right there. So, but we had the U.S. dollar also that strengthened yesterday. I think on the back of better than expected data, and I think that tapering hopes are continuing to be revised forward a little bit, across the board. We also had gold that's still holding below the that 1250 significant level, and oil. This has really found a nice little bounce yesterday, along with some of the other more industrial commodities like copper and things like that. So precious metals under pressure, but the others holding up nicely. All right, we have 2 stocks that are going to ex-div Monday. That's Steinhoff and Vodacom. Vodacom obviously quite a significant divvy, maybe about a 7.5% divvy yield there, and Steinhoff's a decent little divvy as well. So don't forget that's last day to trade there today. Market data out today. We have Japan with its monthly economic report for November. We have South African Reserve Bank Governor is gonna give a speech this morning, which should be going on about right now. We also have German GDP quarter-on-quarter numbers. We've got German IFO, business climate, current assessment, and expectations indexes. So, I think that's the only one really to kind of watch are these German numbers. Obviously, in terms of market data, but the South African Reserve Bank Governor speech is probably going to be, somewhat influential as well. So we'll have to continue to keep our eyes out for headlines that are coming out on the back of that this morning. Could affect the rand, obviously could affect the market because of that going forward. All right, let's have a look at the maps. Okay, the first thing that I wanted to have a look at is the Aussie, which came down yesterday and really dropped support there. I mean, I think we dropped. Sorry, we dropped a couple sessions ago. It's really hard to see here because of this 50-day moving average. Let me just take this line off of here. Okay, well, anyway, bottom line is we slightly dropped this little level of support here, which is really at about 40,200. We dropped that yesterday on the close. I mean, you can see obviously we closed just a touch below that. I wouldn't really call it a breakdown of that level, but I mean, we were significantly lower than that. We were significantly lower than that at one point, maybe 120 points lower than where we closed. This morning, you see we kind of trading up, testing right around the same level at the moment at 40,189. And I think that this is actually going to be a key little level for us to work off here going forward. I mean, if we can manage to hold it, then this will just more or less look like a bit of a flag or a downward descending triangle. But if we drop here at 40,200 and can hold below there, then I think we could have a significant little correction coming. So we got to watch this level closely over the next few days, in the Aussie. All right, to ABSA yesterday, we kind of held. We managed to fight off and hold, what has been definitely the lows down here at 34.5. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yesterday makes it 6 touches of that level, making it really significant on the intraday basis. On a closing basis, I'd call the level 135, which is our closing low over the past year. We're going to have to watch this one really closely. If it drops that level, I think, I know there's a lot of people long. A lot of people played this thing long for the, trying to catch the divvy, and have been hurt there. I think there's a lot of market participants in this one, and I just think that you gotta be ready to exit this thing if it drops below that level, because, obviously, like I said, that trade's pretty much probably quite heavily weighted on the long side, and could be dangerous if it does drop that level. There'll be a lot of people that could be getting stopped out. So just pay close attention to that. I think it was a big save yesterday, and if we can hold on to it, I think we could have a nice bounce like we did every other time. So just watch it closely. All right, we've got Anglos here. Anglos really dropped support. It kind of dropped it the day before, but obviously you can see here the 230 is really our level. When we really popped into this range, going all the way back into August, and we've just dropped out of it as of yesterday's session. I think part of the problem is that Anglos is continuing to underperform Billiton's and some of the others because of the problems at its major subsidiaries, which are not performing well at all. You look at Amplats, Exoras, Kumbas of the world. they're all struggling at the moment. On the back of that, we'll look at Amplats. Amplats also kind of dropped it, or is right at the dropping below support. I don't know if you can really call it a firm drop either. It closed at 398 yesterday. I would put the level at 400, but it's not a monster break. If we can hold below 400 this morning, I think this thing will come significantly lower. I think it could test the 200-day moving average. And if you look at Impalas as well, Impalas also dropped some support yesterday here around 130, which we held nicely just the other day when we came down and tested maybe a week ago. Yesterday just ripped right through it to the downside, and I think part of the problem is with all these mining companies is that we had 2 or 3 days ago we had Eskom issue that warning that we're at emergency levels of power supply, and that we could have load shedding again. We have had some load shedding the past couple days. I haven't noticed any today, but the past couple days there has been load shedding. And I think that's one of the reasons, foreigners remember what happened to these things last time. These guys are asked to decrease energy consumption by around 10% during certain parts of the day. The other day, there's just more problems that these guys don't need to deal with. And I think that's the reason why, all of these more local focused commodity stocks are starting to drop the bottom out. You see Harmony, another one. Harmony dropped below, made a new closing low in the year, the last 2 sessions, or maybe like a 15-year closing low, and just continuing to really be risk averse to the local miners, the ones that have the big exposure here locally. Billiton's still kind of hanging in there, hanging tough. It's the Anglos of the world, the local golds, the local platinums that are really getting hit so hard. And then the last one we'll look at here is Remgro, kind of coming down here to test support again. A lot of support plays coming in at the moment where we hadn't seen those for a long time because markets have just been so overextended. We've had a little bit of a correction here, and we're starting to get a lot of things that are coming into support. Definitely not a bad level to potentially be nibbling on Remgro. I think around yesterday's close. And that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot.